Yo dog, Kenny Boucher here, Next Level Painting, hitting you up with another painting tutorial on this glorious Friday. We did some cool stuff last couple weeks. Blood Angels, keeping the theme alive. We just finished Commander Dante. He is a fresh beast. Now we're going to do Mephiston, the Lord of Death himself. Today is going to be 5 tricks, super simple tricks, to getting your red to that next level. We're going to just do the red, we're focusing the red real deep today. Simple techniques. We're not going to use any pre-shading techniques. This is like more of a beginner technique. Anyone could do this. You don't even need an airbrush, though I recommend getting your ass an airbrush. After this video, next week, we're going to take Mephiston to the 3-color minimum, which I hate, obviously. It's just no other way to explain it. We're going to bring him to the tabletop. We're making him exactly tabletop quality. And then in part 3, we're going to finish Mephiston off by popping his colors out to the next level. Each one of these videos is a full length, not my normal, let me talk to you guys for 3 minutes or show you 7 minutes of filming. These are all big videos, so I'm trying to do a lot more, get in depth. I'm going to show you more techniques. Thank you for finding me on Patreon. Becoming a patron of Kenny Boucher is huge. You helped me big time. I was able to get a new microphone. I was able to, throw a couple extra dollars at a couple of online options on my Creative Cloud. It's huge. Thank you. Please continue to support me. If you have time, check out thelongwar.net. This is where the battle reports live. This is how we bring hobby back together, man. Anyway, let's jump into it. Let's do this thing, guys. 5 simple tricks to paint a red. Step 1, burnt umber and airbrush flow improver. This combined is 2 of our simple tricks. Part 1 of that trick is buy your ass an airbrush. You will thank me. Hit me up online and I'll give you advice on which airbrush to buy. What I like to do is I like to prime my model black, and then I love to just kill it with burnt umber. Burnt umber is the second part of this equation. It interacts with red very awesomely. Awesome sauce. It is amazing. We're going to coat it in this burnt umber and use that as our base color. I like the way burnt umber looks over black a lot more than how it looks over gray. So that's why I go with black here. And it's a really dark brown, but it just soaks up and drinks in the reds. It is a solid color and it's great to come back with later and do some more shading with. The next color we're going to use is Scarlet Red from the P3 line. I love me the P3 colors. This is essentially corn red or Mephiston red in the GW world. I'm going to start highlighting this red right into the burnt umber. Trying to leave some of that burnt umber in place and establish this as the mid-tone. Go in there, bottom up on the robes. Gives you a really nice effect. Spin it around, hit it, top down on the hands. You're also on this musculature on his chest and his abs. You're going to go with a top down effect here, so that way you can really give it that highlighting, but keep the burnt umber in those grooves, in those muscles. We're going to come back and we're going to do the tops of his hands. We're going to keep all that red, and the same thing, his big cape in the background, his glorious cape. Nice, clean red from the bottom up. Keep the transitions looking fresh. Any opportunity you have to make a sick transition, take it. That's what I love about the airbrush. Same thing with his backpack. You're going to want to do things like, put your thumb in a tactical position to not let it wipe certain things out. Maybe not so much in this step, but you'll see later on that I'll be using my thumbs to keep myself from washing things out that I don't want to wash out. So we're going to be moving into Scarlet Red from the Vallejo Air series. This is a great red. This is essentially GW Blood Red, or whatever it's called now. And it's got a little orange in it, and it's a great red for popping things out. So we're going to be popping out the highlights over the Scarlet Red. And you can see immediately is looking red on a different level than it was before. But we're being careful to leave our highlights. See, I'm using my thumb here, like I was telling you about. I'm covering the top of the cape with of his cock robe with my thumb, so that I don't wash out that dark area while coming in and establishing the highlights over his chest. That's a solid technique. Same thing, every highlight we just did, we're going to do it again with the Scarlet Red, and we're going to intensify the highlight. bring it to a different level of red. It was red before, it's really, really red now. Same thing, top down in the backpack, everything we just did. Like I said, it gets a little monotonous because this is not the first time in this tutorial that we're going to be doing exactly this. We're going to be painting Scorn Red and moving our way up more than once. So here is another ancient trick. I left a little bit of the Vallejo Air Evil Scarlet Red in the pot, and now I'm taking some GW Troll Orange, and I'm mixing it directly into the pot like a crazy person. This is Simple Tricks third one. We're talking burnt umber, get yourself an airbrush and do this. Be a gangster, you know, make it work, make your airbrush work for yourself. Like, you don't need to sit there and mix things all carefully in the laboratory. This is art, son. And we're gonna mix in a little bit of orange. We wanna brighten up this red with orange. And here's part of that ancient technique. Backflow. Cover the tip of the airbrush with your finger, let air in and pull the needle back and let it mix in that way. And we're gonna be very subtle. I repeat, super fucking subtle with this orange. You don't want to turn your red into an orange. You want to just very subtly pop the final peaks of the highlights that you just did out with this orange to intensify it. To really make it no question that this is a blood angel, you know? And it's going to be so sad what I do next. To anyone who doesn't know what's coming next. Everything we just did, I'm going to erase it with a heavy wash. Same thing, you know, cover the areas with your thumbs, come in, redo every highlight you just did. You know, we're talking, you hit it with burnt umber, you hit it with Scorn Red, you hit it with the Scarlet Red, you hit it with the Scarlet Red mixed with the orange. All in exactly the same way, redundancy. And now we're gonna pull out our enamel, our lacquer. I use Testors. Testors is good. It's one of my favorite brands. Spray it down, let it dry. Grab some red and some brown. Classic combo right there. And we're gonna go heavily in and just super crush Mephiston's face with this wash. I mean, we're gonna just obliterate it. We're gonna let this wash work itself into every recess. And because he has all these robes and all this like fake muscle on his body, this is a very washable model. Sometimes you don't have to wash them, but I mean, you're not doing it right in my technique if you don't wash them. So washing the red is part 4 of simple tips and tricks to painting red. And this is kind of a beginner's approach to red. I've got all sorts of appreciating techniques. I'm just trying to show you guys a more attainable red. This red can be done very simply with almost any airbrush, but I would recommend an Iwata Eclipse. And we're just dousing this guy. I mean, here he is. He's all dried up now. We're going to put him in front of a fan for a while. There's a little bit of pulling in some of the areas because this is a pewter model. But you're going to see the depression that I talked about. Scarlet Red. Do you remember what we do with Scarlet Red? Yes, you do. We're going to do everything we just did yet again, but a little bit more subtly and a little bit more annoyingly, because we're going to have to pay a lot more attention to not wipe out all the wash, because we want to keep that darkness in there. So now you have to move a little bit slower with a little bit more keenness to your eye. And you can already see he's coming together. He is going to have a totally different level of definition once we're done with this process. He's going to be truly next level red. There it is. You know, you're no stranger to this. You literally just saw me do this 3 times, and now this is the 4th time. You know, come top bottom on his chest piece, let it work its way into his abs. Make sure you don't get it all over the brown at the top there. You want to be careful here. And there he is, looking super fresh. Now we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna cover our thumb over the top of his cock robe to not let any of this spill over. I talked about this, you've seen me do it a few times. In case you didn't think that I put my thumb there by accident, it's there kind of acting as masking tape, but you don't always need tape. You can just use your thumb, especially if you're wearing gloves. You know, it's not a big deal. Now we're gonna really start feathering this transition in. We're doing the tops of his hands, tops of his backpack, all the shit you saw me do it a bunch of times, but we're really bringing it up from that bottom robe. The robe is one of the focal points of the model when you're looking at him from behind, which means you, the owner of Mephiston, are going to be looking at his back a lot. So you really want to appreciate a sick transition, something fun to look at. You can see there's a little bit of pulling in a wash, and as we go through the model, you're going to start seeing them vanish as I go through with the airbrush and the paintbrush. So don't worry, these are all easily approachable. Next, we're going to come back into that Troll Slayer orange, and we're going to mix it in with the Scarlet Red exactly the same way you saw me do it earlier. And we're going to come in very subtly, and we're going to pop these reds out. This is that next level process. This is, like I said, a very simple way to approach it. This is, you can't argue with the results. It looks fantastic. I've got all other ways to make the reds look even more amazing, in my opinion. I can make the red look even more red. But this is kind of like training wheels to that abstract pre-shading world. This is all the techniques you've been doing for a decade. You know, all this, you know, like using washes, using highlight technique, which that leads me to part 5 of simple tricks to painting red, is you're going to have to do some edge highlighting. Like, a lot of people would think this was done. You know, a lot of people would say, well, there he is. That red looks amazing. Let's just start painting the details. No, we're going to go in after this. And like I've said, the wash is creative. I've said this a million times. The wash helps you create a paint by numbers world. It lets you know where the highlights need to go, because the wash finds all the dark areas and leaves the raised surfaces. So I can see where my highlighting needs to be. So, you know, pull out your paintbrush and go in there and trace, essentially, those lines. Trace the brightest areas of this model with a little bit of that orange mixed in with that Scarlet Red. And now this is where you can use a little bit more orange than we felt comfortable using in the airbrush. Just so first use the same, you know, combination, and then start putting more orange into it gradually and making your highlight line thinner and thinner gradually, and it will create a very sharp, clean, and bright highlight to these robes. Mephiston is the Lord of Death, but he is a pimp who never leaves the house without his pimp cape on and his cock robe on, and he always has style. Coming in, as I said, this is the grind. You just have to be methodical. I've said this countless times. You can't rush good highlighting, so don't rush it. The airbrush saved you hours, so you owe it to yourself to recycle those hours into the parts of the model that make it look amazing. Just a couple more hours and you can have a truly amazing model. Now here we're going to come in with that pure orange. You see, you see where I put it. Like, it is sharp, and you do this everywhere. You know, we're going to do it to his chest now, and draw a couple of lines on his chest, try to just create an incredible looking like highlight on those. Really, you can't fuck around here. There is almost no room for error on these chest muscles. If you fuck it up, you're gonna have to go back in with the burn umber and try to fix your mistakes, so you don't have to go all the way back to the airbrush stage. It is imperative that you don't mess this up. You got to go in with the right paintbrush, very small detail brush. You know, you got to come in focused, not on the phone, talking to somebody, not watching Netflix. Don't even listen to fucking music right now. Literally, just you and the model. Can't emphasize that enough. And there it is. Look how clean his chest looks. I can't wait to show you how this is starting to look under, when it looks kind of weird because he doesn't have any details framing him in yet. But part 2 of Mephiston, where I actually begin painting him and take him all the way to a tabletop standard, you will see how much more vibrant he looks once you start framing the colors in with like a bit with his base, with all those little things interacting and on him, all those little details. Once we start hitting those, it's going to start making him look HD. But this is a really nice way to do red. This is simple. These are 5 simple tricks to painting red, taking your paint red to the next level. Thanks for watching this video, players, and please don't forget to check out Patreon and help me bring hobby back. Thanks for checking out that video. Don't forget, I've got tons of other tutorials in the archives, and I do this every week for free. If you're looking for an ad-free experience, check out thelongwar.net. All these videos come out a week early with exclusive access and exclusive downloads and ad-free. Also, check out my best friend Rob Bear at Spikey Bits, and of course the Long War YouTube channel for all the freshest battle reports. Thanks for watching.